Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We're diving into a space that's been it's been evolving faster than ever, and that is AI in the enterprise. From generative AI making waves in the creative industries to AI assistants, like reshaping how we work, it's clear that this technology is becoming a must-have, not just a nice to have. But what about the world of DevSecOps? Security breaches don't wait. One of our guests here today know that all too well, and neither do system managers. Yet many of us are drowning in data, logs, metrics, traces, without the tools to make sense of it all. That's where Sumo Logic Mo Copilot comes in. I'm thrilled to be joined by my colleagues who know the space inside and out. Kui, our VP of AI engineering, whose team brought Copilot to life, and John, our Chief Information Security Officer, he's already using it to transform how his security teams respond to threats. So today we're going to take you behind the scenes for a day in the life of Copilot. Whether you're a security analyst, a DevOps engineer, or just excited about AI's potential to simplify and speed up your work, you don't want to miss what these gentlemen have to say. Let's go. Kui, let's start with you. Since frankly, Copilot came from your team's work, give us a scoop. Why did Sumo Logic create Copilot, and what did you see in security and DevOps that made this AI assistant necessary?
Yeah, thank you, Rowan. It's excited to share the news that Copilot is going to GA. When we create a Copilot, we have a very clear mindset is we want to reduce the DevOps engineers' time to do the troubleshooting. That's our number one goal. How easy they can just simply as using natural language to text to the systems what exactly the tasks they want to find out, what exactly the system of insight they want to find out, just using a single lines of natural language. That's one. The other one is we're trying to achieve is can we use natural language as a communication protocols, talk to Copilot, then to get it a fully contextualized recommendation as the DevOps engineer on their journey to do the troubleshooting or to do the system reliability analysis. And third one is also equally important is to how to have a unified of a view as Rowan wrote it out. In today's world, every digital services or applications are built in the highly distributed manner, like a fully highly containerized multi-tiers of architectures. So
Yeah.
in that very complex IT infrastructure, how to quickly go through the mountains of logs, metrics, and trace and find out exactly the system inside the user need to access for, and then in a relatively short period of time. So those unified lens of the system inside is somewhere where we're pretty excited to create a Sumo Mo Copilot for. I'll
Thanks,
stop.
Kui. John, from a security perspective, how does Copilot address the daily pain points you and your team face?
Yeah, thanks, Rowan. And Kui's spot on in terms of what we're trying to aim at to do with Copilot and the benefit it's already having for my team. Shouldn't surprise anyone in our audience that the threat landscape is complex, and it seems to get more and more complex by the day. And that rate of complexity increases a lot faster than the resources that we have to staff our teams, get them additional training, and really keep pace with what's going on in the world. And so a tool like Copilot helps us force multiply our team, giving us those real contextual AI insights so that our teams can be more focused on proactively solving our security risks as opposed to spending way too much time generating the perfect query or sorting through just the volume of data that they have. And so for an organization like Sumo Logic and for our customers, something like Copilot can make their small but mighty team act a lot faster, which is sort of the name of the game, keeping up with those threat actors.
Copilot as a force multiplier for DevOps and security. I love it, John. Kui, back to you. Let's break it down. if you can tell some of the core capabilities of Copilot that make it so helpful for security and DevOps teams, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rowan. I think the first unique capability Mo Copilot provides is the natural language translation from natural language to say how I'm system doing, do I have any vulnerabilities, or simply say, do I have a latency issues with for example, my Apache logs. And those kind of, you can, in the past, you really have to learn Sumo query, which is super powerful, but not necessarily easy to learn from the beginners, which also a lot of, in the modern world, a lot of the dev engineers not necessarily have they're smart, but don't have the time to learn yet another query language. So all this considered, how to provide a natural language to Sumo query translation is the #1 unique capability we offer in this products.
And Kui, can I just ask you, so for a DevOps or a security individual who's a little bit more on the junior side, they can just ask Mo Copilot a question in plain English, like what caused this spike in traffic, or are there unusual login attempts? Is that right?
Yes, and behind the thing, Copilot will start to do some sort of reasoning around what this question means in the domain of Sumo Logic log analytics. And this will automatically translate to the fully contextualized Sumo query statement. And you can see what exactly has been translated for. And you can either copy and paste into our traditional log query editors. You can run it, everything will just work. But in this case, if you're happy with the translation, you can just and the Copilot will just run this for you and then bring the result either in the tabular forms or in the chart. And the chart selection is also pretty intelligent. They realize if this is about the geolocation, kind of a vulnerability around the geos, they automatically bring the map to you. If this is in terms of the bar chart or pie chart, it automatically makes a decision for you. So you can pick and choose those kind of natural language translation, both as the intermediate translation as well as the final data set it come back to you. So
Lovely.
it's very powerful.
What other capabilities are there in Copilot?
One of the cool features I think is our customers really like, and they start to realize this is a new paradigm shifting. What I mean by that is traditionally you really have to, even experienced secure DevOps engineer, have to memorize, have to go through a lot of on-job training to learn, not only learn the Sumo query language, but also start to remember or have a memory around what exactly the Sumo query statement for particular symptoms or get the insight. But nowadays, their life becomes much easier. We provide a natural language translation, and all those natural language to the individual Sumo queries has been managed by Copilot intelligently and contextually. So what that means is I use analogy of this is really like a natural language pointers to the knowledge you have or DevOps engineer has to their systems insights. So if you and the Copilot itself is smart enough to make the best guess to the next steps as you dive into a troubleshooting journey. For example, trying to figure out in the multi-tier service where exactly my bottlenecks. In the case of security, where is the vulnerable IP address I should look into? So stuff like that would just make the sort of the SREs or reliability engineers, their life is a whole lot easier. And those knowledge is also transferable using natural language, shareable with your colleagues in the team who may or may not have the deep domain knowledge. Everyone using the natural language, just like they have the meetings, they have in the document, they can just use natural language to transfer those kind of secure DevOps domain knowledge across.
Love it. So natural language interaction, AI guided troubleshooting journey. I know a third one is unified data integration as well. John, we'll turn it to you. Can you tell us what that means, unified data integration for your security team?
I sure can. And Kui does a lovely job of simplifying something that is super duper powerful for our teams. In most of our organizations, and especially in ours, we get data from all sorts of sources. Logs, metrics, traces. You talk about unstructured data like chat logs or emails. Hell, when we're trying to solve a problem, I don't care if it's smoke signals or carrier pigeons, right? We get signals from all these different places. And you start adding all these signals into your basket of things that you need to sift through. And that becomes super unwieldy, super fast. And so like the panacea, the goal is pulling that all into one view. And that ends up being a game changer for us. With Mo Copilot, we get that unified source of truth so that my team can see everything in one place as opposed to having to constantly pivot between tools. And anyone that's worked in a SOC or anyone that's worked in a highly complex environment understands that every time you're pivoting between tools, you're context switching. And as you context switch, not having that unified source of truth makes it really difficult for you to do your job. Not impossible. People are smart. People are super talented. But something like Mo Copilot coming in and helping with that particular process allows our analysts to move a lot faster. And that fast movement, that efficiency and that effectiveness translates into better mean time to triage, better mean time to remediate, all of those metrics that you want to be measuring the maturity of your security program with. This is a tool that we're already using in-house to do the same. And we're super excited for our customers to tap into that power as well.
Love it. Natural language interaction, AI-guided troubleshooting journey, unified data integration. Kui, automated data visualization. Please tell the folks what that capability can do and why it's so powerful for DevOps and security.
Yeah, automated data visualization is yet another unique capabilities out of the Mo Copilot. What that really means is when we start to translate from the natural language into Sumo queries, it automatically, based on the reasoning around this natural language statement, in the semantic level, you're trying to figure out what kind of best representation of the data set. For example, whether that should be a tabular tables, or that be a pie chart, a bar chart, or this would be a line graph, or even to be a geographic kind of a representation of your data. All these things has been contextually figured out for you by Mo Copilot, and our customers just love those kind of intelligence, or we call it automated data visualizations. And last but not least, data visualization, once the fully contextualized, customizable data dashboard has been automatically created for you, it can also easily, it is a matter of one click, you can share that with your colleagues. So your colleagues in a different role can use the natural language description as well as the fully generated visualization, and they can start to dive into the interesting insight they're interested in. Yeah.
It means, decisions are made with confidence and speed. So what a wonderful capability there. Let's for a second put ourselves in the shoes of your team. Security analyst for John, DevOps engineer for Kui. These folks are using Copilot. John, let's start with you. Can you give us a real world example of your teams leveraging Copilot today?
Yeah, I mean, I sure can. And I'll be knocking on all the wood as I give this example because I would prefer it not to happen while we're on this particular call. But, it's the dreaded 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning alert, right? We have a spike in unusual activity on this particular IP range, or we have some unusual login attempts, like name your own monster of the week. With Copilot, a junior analyst who gets that alert, instead of having like the moment of freak out, where do I even start, can type in within natural language what is causing this activity. And that kicks off a series of chain of events in the background that not only can help you answer that question, but then start suggesting the other places that you need to go. Now, obviously, this is really cool for the analyst that's actually dealing with the problem at the time. What it also is cool of is think about the human element of typically, without something like Copilot, that junior analyst has to call someone else at 3 o'clock in the morning, who then has to call someone else at 3 o'clock in the morning, who eventually calls me at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I don't necessarily love. But with Copilot, that junior analyst can get such a head start on the investigation that when he makes those subsequent phone calls and escalations, we already have a better idea of which resources we need to dive into in order to make sure that we are getting rid of the threat or getting ahead of whatever's going on within the organization. So instead of having to call 10, 20, 30 people, whatever it ends up being, we can get that head start for that incident response right away, which is super powerful, not just to fix the problem, but to actually help your humans with things like burnout and all those other nasty things that go along with being a security practitioner. Again, that force multiplying effect is sort of profound for us in that way.
I love it, John. I don't want you waking up at 3 a.m. So thank God for Copilot. Kui, uh, if you can please give us a real world example of your DevOps engineers using Copilot.
So the value to the DevOps team or the DevOps personas is so obvious because live in a very fast moving world. I don't know how many regular developer have to learn maybe at least 5 to 10 different languages, and they just don't have the bandwidth to learn yet another Sumo queries, another domain-specific language in this case. So instead, they can just ask using natural language, say, hey, how is my latency? Why is my latency so high in these regions? And then the Copilot will be smart enough to figure out what kind of source of data they need to look at and what kind of underlying Sumo query the most people are typically using to answer in order to answer those type of questions. All these things can be contextualized and generated for you. And secondly, I think another big value to the DevOps teams is that DevOps team are typically good on writing the code, understanding the code level things, but they are not necessarily understanding the system level behaviors. And when the modern IT becomes super distributed, and there's so many layers starting from the virtualization, containerizations, and then all kinds of application framework. On top of that is your database, your backend, and your front end, and so on and so forth. And not even mention the kind of the rising kind of agentic kind of application AI native world. Software becomes super complex. People have less time to do the troubleshooting, but everyone needs productivity. Everyone needs to understand the full stack. But guess what? Sharing those deep DevOps domain knowledge is still a barrier simply because different vendors, different companies, different part of the architecture, they have a different kind of domain language. You have to recognize the schemas and then the domain specific language for queries, stuff like that. But now Sumo Copilot make this thing super easy. You simply say in natural language, and the Mo Copilot automatically figure this out for you. And then the most important thing, you can also share those kind of I keep saying this is like a knowledge pointers. You can share this natural language knowledge pointer to your colleagues, and they can easily ask the similar questions or just simply repeat the same questions. And they got a very powerful answers and deep system insight immediately return back. So this make the DevOps engineer life super easy, and their productivity is super increased. And so that's kind of the top two values I can see from my DevOps team perspective.
Thank you, Kui. It's clear that Sumo Logic Mo Copilot is going to be a game changer for DevSecOps. Kui, John, any final thoughts on what you're most excited about regarding Copilot's impact for each of your respective teams?
Yeah, I will start first. I think since my team created Copilot, and we are also the first class consumer of Copilot, we eat our own dog food. So I'm excited this version of Copilot already gave us tremendous values, as I shared previously. Looking forward, we are also super excited. Copilot going to evolve into next generation. For example, they can help more sophisticated reasoning capabilities. The contextualized capability going to become more rich and stronger, and also Copilot can persist more reasoning capabilities so that it can generate not just one simple query, but multiple sequence of actions ahead. So all these are exciting features we want to see as we evolve, keep building this fantastic new product on Sumo platforms.
Thank you, Kui. John?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've spent a lot of time talking about like the immediate tactical value of Copilot, and I talked a lot about how it's saving us time and things like that. And I think what I'm most excited about is what I'm going to do with that time that I get back. Right? I can get my big brains on the team focused on being proactive about what's around the next, the next bend, thinking about how we can make improvements to our security stack, our processes, our procedures, everything else that sometimes you just don't have enough time to fix when you're constantly fighting fires or playing whack-a-mole. So just recapitalizing that time and figuring out where we're going to use it, so that we can get back to our core principles and our core mission here at Sumo, which is protecting our data and our customers' data. I think the other thing I'm excited about, and Kui alluded to it, is that Copilot is not a destination; it's a journey. And so I'm excited to be on the rocket ship, and I'm even more happy that Kui and company are driving that rocket ship, because not only is it an exciting time right now for Sumo with Copilot, but in the coming months and years, I think it's going to get even more exciting for practitioners like myself, and of course for our customers.
Thank you, Kui. Well said, John. Thank you, Kui. Thank you, John. Appreciate you sharing how Copilot is changing the game for security development and IT operational teams. If you want to learn more about how Mo Copilot can transform your workflow, visit sumologic.com/resources. Check out our launch blog, our solution brief, and our demo. See you next time. Bye, everyone.